Hi friends, it's Claire from Scrappy Nerd UK and I'm super excited to be sharing this video with you today. I am guest designer for Stick It Down Sketches and I am bringing you this one. So the sketch is down in the bottom right hand corner for you so you can see where my design has come from. So I am using the Cool Kid by Crepe Paper. Crepe Paper is my favourite manufacturer and I tend to buy every single line going, and I'm literally hoarding, I say hoarding, these papers. I didn't manage to get many of the 12 by 12 and so I'm using usually the tiniest amount possible. Even this little offcut here, you see I didn't even want to back all of my photo with that paper. So the sketch calls for a starry left-hand side is probably the best way I'd put it. So I had this star paper and initially I was going to use a cut file, and I get that not everybody out there has a Cricut or a silhouette, so I thought, well, I'll show you how you can make the sketch work without the need to use a cut file. So I'm just using some of the papers in the red and the yellow to create some layers behind my photo. And I wanted to bring in some of this black and white as well. I love this paper and I've just managed to get it in the 12 by 12 size as well. So I'm super excited to be topping up my stash. And yep, just 3 layers, and I do like a torn edge on my papers. I like that messy look, so just remember to pull the paper down towards you and then you get the torn edge. If you pull it up, then you will get a ripped edge, but you won't get the bare bit of the card stock from the middle of the paper showing, which I quite like. So I just pop that up on some foam to create some height, and just like that I pull in my stickers, my ephemera and the chipboard sheet. So I'm just going through these pieces here to decide what pieces of ephemera I want to use on this layout. And this collection obviously is for little boys, and these are photographs of 2 of my nephews when we taken them to Legoland. And if you've ever been to Legoland in the UK and you've been down to this bit, there's water sprayers that spray water out, jet sprayers I think is the word I was looking for. They spray the water jets out, so if you stand close enough then you get a little bit wet. So they were having fun trying to avoid getting wet from the jet sprays. And the picture I got at the time was I was really happy with that one. And so I thought I'd use that on this layout. So what I've done here is this red and white striped chipboard frame. It's on the chipboard sheet. I wanted to use it to almost set in the middle word. Set my title up. I was going to try and put it in, but that title's too big. So what I did was I backed the middle of the frame with some vellum just to tone down the background, and then I stuck the title on the top edge of the frame, in the middle and on the bottom edge of the frame. And I was really pleased with how that turned out. So next what I've done is just using some offcuts of the paper pad from my 6x6 paper pad. I just went and die cut some stars in different sizes, in 3 different sizes, in the red and white stripe, in a yellow stripe, and in the black with the white plus signs. And this is going to give me the starry background on the left hand side that the sketch calls for. And don't worry, I don't bore you with watching me stick all of these down. And I do just apply some wet glue to stick these down on. And then I just go over some of the stars with my black pen just to create a messy border around the yellow ones and around the red ones as well, I believe. And you can see there on the photo I've already started embellishing, so I use the chipboard, not the chipboard, the ephemera piece that says boys will be boys, and the little acetate piece that says play all day at the bottom of the photo. So I'm going to bump up the little boys will be boys ephemera piece with some foam on the right and some double-sided tape on the left to stick that into the layers. And then back onto the chipboard sheet and just deciding what pieces I want to use from this. So I pull out the red star and the yellow star. Now these chipboard pieces, they're really thick. So if you're anything like me, I really struggle getting them out of the off the back end, but not too much trouble. So on the sketch, it calls for a little cluster in the top right hand side. So I went back to the black and white paper that I'd used to layer, and I just cut some of those words out, blast, boom and crash, and just used that chipboard circle with the star on, just tying the star theme over to the right hand side and using some of those puffy stickers in the red and the yellow. Now that ephemera piece there, I kept looking at it and I couldn't decide what was wrong with it. Nothing was wrong with it, but to me it just seemed to be getting lost in the white background. So I just did a messy board around it and it fixed my problem. So next I'm just using my ruler just to excuse my head in the way. Apologies for that. I'm just using my ruler just to create a border around the edges. And then onto this bit. So it looked to me on the sketch there was a label on the bottom left. So I'm just going to use this to put my date on. And I'm a bit terrible with trying to date my layouts. And I know how super important it is, but I don't scrap chronologically. So to me, everything just goes in my album. I scrap whatever photograph I feel like scrapping, but at some stage I'm going to have to go back and actually date everything. So in times to come, I'll actually know when the photographs were taken. And I just added a little journaling spot here. Again, I'm not a massive journaler on my layouts, but it is something that I'm starting to do a lot more, telling the story of the photograph. And here it is, all finished. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this and stay tuned for some more.